Hello, aspiring hunters! Welcome to the Hunter Experience. Hunter x Hunter is an anime known for its incredible and unique villains. The creator of the anime does something very interesting. He takes common stereotypes and ideas of villains and transforms them into much more complex and mysterious characters. If you're prepared for the incredible Hunter journey, click like and subscribe to the channel to join our troop. Don't forget to comment on who your favorite character is in Hunter x Hunter. Now, let's continue with this incredible story. One example of this is Hisoka, one of the first villains we encounter in the story. He is very strong and seems to be the type of villain who is just cool and loves to fight. But when we think more about him, we realize that he is much more complicated than he appears. Hisoka has no clear past, and that is what makes him interesting. We only know that he really likes a candy called bungee gum and that he may have invented his last name. His story doesn't need many details because what matters is what he does in the present. Hisoka is a hunter who enjoys hunting powerful people. He has no interest in defeating weak people. He wants to see others grow so that the fight becomes more interesting. Another remarkable villain is Chrollo Lucilfer, the leader of the Spider Group. He is calm, strategic, and always seems to have everything under control. Even when facing challenges, like fighting assassins or being betrayed by one of his members, he remains calm and always seems to have a plan. He is the kind of villain who, no matter what you do, always has something happening in his favor, as if everything were conspiring for him to win. There is also Meruem, perhaps the most complex villain in the series. He starts as someone who sees humans as inferior, but throughout the story, he begins to understand what it means to be human. He perceives the beauty of human persistence and sensitivity, and that changes him. Meruem starts to see humans in a deeper way, especially after his battles, like the one he had against Netero, where he learned more about the struggle for survival and love. Among other incredible villains, we have Pariston Hill, a mysterious character who fluctuates between villain and ally, and the current villain of the arc, Prince Sidon Ree, a psychopathic and extremely intelligent character skilled with Nen, a special ability in the world of Hunter x Hunter. Now, there is a character who appeared very little but sparked many discussions, Gyro. He appeared for only 8 minutes in the anime, and yet he became one of the most talked about characters. Gyro was introduced in the Chimera ant arc, and his story is revealed in a somewhat unexpected way. He grew up in a construction site, and from a young age, learned to work as a mason. Gyro lived in very difficult conditions, in a shack with his father, an alcoholic and a harsh man. Despite this tough life, Gyro loved his father, believing him to be a hero. His father always told him not to disturb others, and this advice stayed with Gyro throughout his life. Despite the hardships, Gyro got used to controlling his need to use the bathroom to avoid disturbing his father at night. He would stay quiet to avoid making noise, and even urinated in beer bottles because he didn't want to leave his bed. This difficult life and his relationship with his father shaped Gyro in a unique way, making him an interesting character, even with such little screen time. Gyro was very sick and had a high fever, which left him in a very bad state. During this time, his father took care of him, changing his towels, giving him medicine, and trying to help as best as he could. But behind this care, there was something Gyro didn't know. The reason his father hadn't kicked him out of the house until then was because Gyro helped financially, bringing money to the family. If it weren't for that, his father would have probably kicked him out long ago. One day, while Gyro was eating in a construction site cafeteria, a nasty man started provoking him, saying that Gyro's father only kept him around because he brought money. The man even said that if it weren't for that, Gyro would have been homeless a long time ago. Gyro became very angry and tried to fight the man, but the other man didn't like the idea of Gyro trying to hit him. The situation got even worse when the man revealed something very painful. When Gyro was sick, it wasn't his father who took care of him, but a neighbor. This neighbor had even fought with Gyro's father several times, complaining that he didn't care about his son, but Gyro's father simply replied that he didn't care about him. At that moment, Gyro was shocked. He looked at his father, who was there watching the scene of his son being humiliated and beaten in public, and saw that he wasn't even the slightest bit concerned. This made Gyro realize that everything he believed about his father's love was a lie. His father didn't keep him around because he cared for him. It was because he needed the money Gyro brought. What Gyro had always thought was love was actually just selfishness. He then understood that the rule he had always heard, never disturb others, actually meant never disturb your father. He wasn't supposed to do anything that inconvenienced him, because that would just disrupt his father's life. With this awakening, Gyro decided that he no longer wanted to be like humans, because to him, being human was being selfish and cold like his father. It was at that moment that he found a new purpose, and finally gathered the courage to take a hammer and end his father's life. After that, Gyro began living his life in a completely different way. At the age of 21, he founded a place called NGL, a territory where technology was not allowed and everything was done naturally, without artificial resources. Over the years, NGL became a recognized nation, and Gyro was crowned as king. But what no one knew was that Gyro used the peaceful image of NGL to hide his illegal activities. In fact, he used the place to hide factories and plantations used for arms and drug trafficking. He also created a drug called D2, which spread across the world and was part of a large plan for corruption and destruction. However, everything ended when the first Chimera ants, a type of half-human and half-animal being, invaded his factory, killed all of Gyro's henchmen, and eventually killed Gyro himself. Chimera ants are very special creatures. They are born from the queen ant, who has a unique way of reproducing. The queen eats different types of food, and everything she eats ends up influencing the characteristics of the babies she produces. For example, if she eats a crab, the baby born will have characteristics of a crab. This is what we call phagogenesis. When the Chimera ants begin hunting and feeding on humans, they also begin to generate new Chimera ants, but now with human characteristics. These ants become humanoid chimeras, and they have something very interesting. They are able to remember parts of their past lives and even carry a bit of the personality they had when they were human. One example of this is the character Cash, a humanoid chimera ant. When he returns to the village where he lived as a human, he sees a woman, and even though he doesn't quite understand why, feels like he knows her from somewhere. He ends up ignoring the woman and continues on his path, as if there is an instinct that prevents him from getting close to her. This shows how chimera ants can still have memories of their past, even after transforming. Gyro's story is told through flashbacks. Gyro, who also transforms into a chimera ant, manages to resist the call of the queen ant, something most other chimera ants can't do. He had such a strong will within him that he didn't let himself be controlled. Gyro ended up dying as a human, but when reborn as a chimera ant, he retained all of his memories and personality. He becomes much stronger and finally achieves what he wanted. Gyro, now a chimera ant, is no longer human, and this transformation makes him realize he has lost everything, but also that he can start anew. Gyro begins to realize that his journey has led him to a point of no return, and he becomes a villain with great ambitions. He creates a nation called NGL, a place where technology is forbidden, and people live in a simple and natural way. However, behind this peaceful image, Gyro is involved in illegal activities, such as arms and drug trafficking. His story is full of complexity, and he is considered one of the most interesting villains due to his actions and motivations. Gyro has a promise of a reunion with Gon, one of the main characters. Although they were in the same city at some point, they never met. Many fans believe that Gyro may return to the story at some point, and there are theories that he could be the chameleon chimera ant, although this has not been confirmed. Gyro has a significant impact on the plot, even without appearing much. His story is slowly built, leaving fans curious about what will happen in the future. He is a villain with a tragic and poetic life story, someone who managed to abandon his humanity to achieve his goals. The way he did this, dying as a human and being reborn as a chimera ant, makes him even more fascinating and mysterious. Gyro is not just any villain. He is a character who has already achieved everything he wanted and now faces the consequences of his choices. And the big question that remains is, what will his relationship with Gon be when they finally meet? Their reunion promises to be something grand and full of mysteries. Hunters, that was our video for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed our video, subscribe to the channel as it is still very new, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.